What's up, guys? Steve Craig Retro Games back with another video, and tonight are the responses to my 1K Q&A. About 5 weeks ago, I dropped a video asking you guys to submit questions for my 1,000 subscriber video, where I would turn around and then answer in return. So, without any further ado, let's dive into some questions, guys.
Hey, what's up everyone out there? My name is Chill Scissors. Steve, thank you so much for having me on board to celebrate this momentous occasion. 1,000 subscribers. That's right, 1,000 subscribers, man. Congratulations. This calls for a drum roll. There we go, man. So thank you for everything that you do. Here's the many more thousands to come. And I don't doubt it for a second. I love your content. I call you the bearded knowledge for a reason. You're a wealth of knowledge from retro and above, and just an awesome individual to have within the community. So with that said, you have tasked me to ask one question for you for your Q&A, and I would love to know, whenever I was a kid, then one of my most cherished memories was whenever gaming went mobile. And I know you're a big connoisseur whenever it comes to the mobile gaming aspect of things. So the memory that I have is whenever I would be able to take my game mobile. So I would build couch forts using, couch pillows and blankets and a fan and all these different sorts of things. But I would crawl in there with my snacks, my Ghostbusters lunch pail, and just spend all day in there if my mom would let me. And but I would play games that were revolutionary at the time for the Nintendo DS. And one of them I remember very vividly is Metroid Prime Hunters. This game, took full advantage of the hardware on the console, letting you utilize, 3D graphics, which was really advanced for the time. Another game that comes to mind is Super Mario 64 DS. These games I would just play for hours on end in my couch fort. But again, those memories will stick with me for a lifetime. I love them. That's why I still cherish that console. I was curious, do you specifically have a console to reference or any memories referencing similar situations such as this? Again, congratulations on the 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate you for everything that you do. Each video, I get excited whenever I hit that notification box in my YouTube account. But guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button on his channel. Boost him up. Let's get him another 1,000. Let's go. Till next time. Peace. Later, my guy.
That was a great question, Matt. As a matter of fact, I have fond memories of playing my Nintendo Game Boy when I was 11 and 12 on a car ride across the country and going to visit family. And the two games that I played the most when I was a child on my Game Boy on those car trips, game one, Super Mario Land. I can't tell you how many hours I logged into this game when I was a child. This was definitely a favorite for me on the car rides, and just an absolute classic, which is why I had to pick it up. And then the second game that I put many hours into was NFL football, and this is an absolutely fantastic football game for the Game Boy. I am a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, being that I live just outside the city, and I would always pick them. I still always pick them, even when they're terrible. And I would sit in the back seat and play these two games all the way to our destination and never get tired of either game. So very fond memories of my Game Boy on long car trips. So great question, Matt. All right, this question is from Jeffrey Charist 9093, and his question was, what are your top 3 Switch games that you have hours logged into? Well, the first one is Broforce, which I still don't have my physical copy of. Special Reserves, where is it? So unfortunately, I had to buy it digitally, and I have logged a ton of hours into that game, and I have beat it a few times. The other two games I do have copies of. The first one is Ape Out. This is a sealed copy, but I also bought this digitally. And this is a Devolver game set to kind of a jazzy, funky music beat to drums. And basically, you are a gorilla trying to escape different facilities, and this game's crazy and very, very difficult as well. But yeah, I've logged many hours into this game. And then the other game I have logged the most hours into for the Switch is Void Bastards. This is kind of a hard game to describe, but you are on a ship. You take the place as a prisoner. Every time you die, you become a new prisoner, and each prisoner has attributes that can help them or attributes that can be detrimental to them. Like some of them might have a smoker's cough, which means that while you're trying to sneak around, you can actually cough out loud and the enemies will hear you even if they don't see you. This is a space traveling game where you go from ship to ship trying to kill enemies, take anything you can to help yourself out. And this is a crazy game, so much fun. I don't know how long I've got into this game, but easily 50 hours. If you guys have never checked out or heard of Void Bastards, I highly recommend you checking this out. It also has a very unique art style. I know you probably can't see this very well, but a very unique art style that's very cartoony. But this game is tough and gory and also funny. So those are my 3 Switch games that I have logged the most hours in.
What is up, YouTube? I just wanted to say congratulations to Steve. 1,000 subscribers, dude. That is a huge freaking milestone. And God, it's just, I remember being with you, I think from underneath, I don't remember at what number sub I was, but it's been awesome to see your channel grow from the very beginning. And you're just such an awesome guy, and you really deserve this, and you deserve so much more. So it's awesome, just awesome to see this happening for you, man. And I'm just so pumped to see how much farther you can go. As for a question, everybody knows how much of a huge handheld fan you are. And, you know, one of my questions is, if you could only have one handheld for the rest of your life, which handheld would it be? If you had to get rid of all of them, which handheld would be the one that you would hold on to and play the most? And also, if you could only play one video game for the rest of your life, Steve, I'm sure this has been asked before and a million times, what one video game, if you were stuck on a desert island and you could play for the rest of your life, what video game would that be? So, once again, congratulations, Steve. It's awesome to see this happen for you, buddy. Keep it going. Peace out.
Great question, Zach. If I could only choose one handheld forever, as much as I love my Neo Geo Pocket Color and the PlayStation Vita, simply based off of variety and the large amount of games in the library already, I would have to choose the Nintendo Switch. It's not my overall favorite handheld system. However, I do love the library. It has a multitude of games from every genre, and it's a great handheld. Probably my 3rd favorite overall. However, they no longer make games for the Pocket Color. It doesn't have a backlit screen. The Vita, you know, it has a ton of RPGs, but you know, it's very Japanese RPG heavy as far as the library goes, where the Switch is way more accessible to more people. So I would have to say the Switch would be my choice if I could only have one handheld going forward. And then as far as one game, if I could only choose one game forever, I can't really give you a specific answer for that, but my answer would be, I'm going to cheat a little bit and say either a sports title or a racing game, simply because the outcome will be different and the journey will be different every single time, where even if a game has multiple paths and multiple endings, eventually you're going to see them all. You're going to go every path that that game has, and it will become old hat at some point. Not that racing games and sports game won't become old hat. However, you're not guaranteed to win every game. The outcome can be completely different every single time you play a game of Madden or FIFA or boxing or a racing game like Underground or a Split Second or Blur, something like that. So can't give you a specific single answer, but I would say probably something sports or racing. All right, this next question is from Bill Keys, and he asked me what my 10 most underrated games are. Well, as you can see, just partially, I've got a lot of games, and if I own them, I like them. So I could really honestly go a lot of cheap sports games that most people would pass over because they think they're horrible, where they're actually fun. But I went through and chose 10 games that I think you guys should know about that are at least slightly underrated and you guys might be interested in adding to your collection. So, and I made it a variety as well. The first game I'm going to speak about is Lilo and Stitch for the Game Boy Advance. This is a Metal Slug clone and it is awesome. So if you guys are fans of Metal Slug, do not sleep on Lilo and Stitch. Part 2 is also fantastic. Unfortunately, I do not have that one. But this is a Metal Slug style game. If you like that, check that out. That's underrated. Tokyo Beatdown is a DS beat 'em up made by Atlas. This is a buddy cop game, and it has comedy. It's got fun action and a great beat 'em up that not very many people even discuss. So I would definitely say this is underrated. We've got Dragon Spirit for the TurboGrafx 16. This is definitely underrated because when it comes to shoot 'em ups on the system, this is never in the top 5 or even top 10 list. Everybody talks about Blazing Lasers and Superstar Soldier, but I am a huge fan of Dragon Spirit because instead of a ship, you are a dragon, and you can collect power-ups that give you a second or third head to shoot out of, and I absolutely love a shooter where you get to play as something different than a typical spaceship. Space Channel 5 for the Sega Dreamcast. This is a rhythm-based game. It is super cheesy. The graphics are super cheesy. The music is super cheesy, but oh my god, this game is an absolute blast. This is a game that Leanne and I have gone through and beaten a couple of times this year, and this is one of her all-time favorite games. If you have a Dreamcast and you're into rhythm games that are truly quirky, do yourselves a favor. Do not pass up on Space Channel 5. Jericho for the 360. This is a first-person horror game, first-person shooter horror game, and does not get enough discussion. This is done by Clive Barker, and I beat this game years ago when it came out, and this is fantastic. If you like first-person shooters that are set in the world of horror, check this out. That's Jericho. Then we have Split Second for the 360. This is an absolutely fantastic racing game. I'm not going to go too much into what it involves in, but it's a great racing game that people sleep on. Split Second. Then we've got The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay on the original Xbox, and The Chronicles of Riddick: Assault on Dark Athena for the 360. These are fantastic games set in the world of Riddick, and I'm telling you guys, if you guys are fans of the movie series, check these games out. This is the first, this is the second. They are wonderful. They're not perfect, but if you are into the character of Riddick, check these out. They're great games, super fun. Then we've got the Conduit for the Nintendo Wii. This is another fantastic first-person shooter that gets slept on for the Wii. Great game. Definitely check this out. There are two versions. There's a regular version, and this is the special edition. But either way, check this game out. There goes my light. I'll have to fix that just a second. And then the last game is Skeleton Warriors for the Sega Saturn. This is, oh my gosh, such a fantastic game that Leanne and I love. This is based on a cartoon series from the 90s, I believe, mid-90s. And the graphic style on this is something a little different. It kind of reminds me of the digital characters from Mortal Kombat. But you are a sword-wielding, I forget what your name is. It's been a while since I've played it. Doesn't matter what your name is. Prince Lightstar. And you wield a sword and some magic, and you are tearing skeletons apart. The music in this game is absolutely fantastic, and I'm telling you guys, there's some really, really badass action figures they came out with in the 90s for this show as well. Check this game out, guys. It's fantastic. So thanks for the question, Bill. Those are my 10 most underrated games.
What's up, Steve? First, let me say congratulations on hitting that 1,000 mark. I mean, that's the spot that all of us that are little guys would aspire to get to one day. So that's awesome that you made it there, and many, many more, buddy. I have a 3-part question for you. Shouldn't take long. They all tie together. First off, what is your favorite arcade game? Second, what was the name of your childhood arcade? And third, what is the fondest memory that you have in that arcade? Cheers.
Thanks for the question, Josh. As far as my favorite arcade game goes, this might be an unpopular choice, but I'm going to say Golden Tee 98. It's an arcade that I actually have. It is upstairs. I would show a picture, but you guys all know what the game looks like. It is golf. It is a game that I used to play when I was in my young 20s at a restaurant that I used to work at in the kitchen. And when we would all get off of work and close the restaurant down, we would all hang out at the bar after hours, drinking, playing songs on the jukebox, and playing Golden Tee 98. And it's also a game that I have hours and hours and hours of memories in playing with my father. It's a game that he is a big, big fan of. So that would be my favorite arcade game of all time. And as far as my favorite 80s arcade, the arcade that I went to when I was a kid that I remember the most was Spaceport. I do remember an Aladdin's Castle and a couple other mom and pop style arcades around the different areas that I lived as a kid, but Spaceport was definitely my favorite arcade growing up. I remember the inside was all decked out like the inside of a space station. It had the beams across the ceiling to the walls with the circular holes in them, and looked a bit like a hole structure, and just an awesome arcade and a lot of memories in Spaceport. And then my favorite arcade memory is one of the first times that my dad and I actually saw the original Dragon's Lair arcade in the theater, in the arcade right after it released, and my father literally sat there. I think the game was $1 or $2 per play, because it was very expensive when it was brand new to play that game in the arcade. I don't remember if it's $1, $1.50, or $2 a play, but I swear that my father sat there and probably pumped $100 into Dragon's Lair, and I just remember thinking, holy cow, my dad is the richest man on the planet. He is dropping his entire wallet into this arcade game, and I thought it was the craziest thing ever. So that's probably my favorite arcade memory of all time. All right, the next question is from Dr. Gamer Ali, and his question to me was, do I like indie games or AAA games? And my answer to that is, I love both. I love indie games because they can be a more cozy feel of a game, if that makes any sense. Like a nice cozy package. And then sometimes the AAA games are very broad and expansive and just these huge worlds. So I like the difference between those games. It just really depends on my mood. And then, of course, with AAA games, I like just how far they take the graphics with trying to do new things, how big a world can be. And then with indie titles, I like how they try to break into certain niches, how some of them are very particular on what they do. I just really appreciate indie games and AAA games for the differences. And as you can see, I don't discourage any game in my collection. I love them all, and so that would be my answer. I know that's a cop-out answer, but I love AAA games and I really love indie games.
Samantha Zira here. First of all, congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. Steven, your videos are so interesting, and that's what's drawing people to your channel. And I personally have enjoyed your content. My question for you is, what is a game in your collection that everyone else seems to hate, but you really enjoy? Thank you so much for including me in this.
Oh, Sam, you had to go and ask a question like this. All right, so I had to think long and hard about this because it's very subjective. Everybody likes and dislikes different things, but I think I landed on a game that if I asked 100 people, more than 51 of them would say they wouldn't want to play this game. And that game is Junction. This is a game for the Genesis that I actually really enjoy. This also came out for the Sega Game Gear as well, I believe. And so what this is a puzzle game. It's one of those types of puzzle games where it drops a ball onto a play field and there are a bunch of individual tiles, and those tiles have different lines on them, and as you connect the lines, you'll create a pathway for that ball or marble to roll down. And so what the idea with this one is each of the four sides has a rounded lip, and you have to get that ball to travel to all four sides and round over that lip in order to complete the puzzle and move on to the next one. You either love these games or you absolutely hate these games, and I love these games. It's a bit of a mix between sliding tile puzzles and Marble Madness, but a little bit less Marble Madness, if that makes any sense. So not a game that most people would enjoy, but I really do. So I wouldn't say that it's a hated game, but I would say most people would probably find this rather boring really quick. So great question, Samantha. My answer, Junction. All right, next question is from Show Me Retro. Really appreciate the questions, Pat. So he kind of had a two-parter. He asked, what is a typical day in the life of Steve Craig? Well, rather boring. 6 days a week, I get up and I go to work. I come home, I drink some coffee, do a little bit of house cleaning, straightening up, shoot a video if I've got one coming out the next day, and I wait for Leanne to get home, and then we will sit out on the front porch if the weather is nice and chat and game. I'll usually sit out there with a handheld game and enjoy the birds and the noises of nature and the nice breeze. When it's too cold to sit outside, we will hang out inside. The winter is when I play more console gaming, and the summer is when I do more handheld gaming, just because we really like to front porch sit like you do in the South. So and then, like I said, Saturdays I'm working. If we have plans, we'll go do something fun like a soccer match, a concert, something like that. And then Sundays we get up, we go to church, and then it's laundry, straighten up, get ready for the week, and then sit around and play some games, spend time together as a family, that kind of thing. So kind of boring. I'm sure it's the same as the rest of you guys. Nothing special here. And then the second part is my most prized possession, and I have a couple questions that are kind of on that. So you guys are familiar with my painting that Leanne got me for our wedding. It was my wedding present, and it is a painting of the Big Daddy and Little Sister from BioShock, and that is my most prized possession as far as non-gaming items go, even though it's gaming related. But it's very, very meaningful to me because it was a wedding gift, and then also my great friend Jen from Retro Rivals, who you will see in a little bit, actually painted that painting for me. I would show it, but I forgot to bring it down for the video because I'm a doofus. And then I will give you a second response though, and my most prized gaming possession, I guess I would have to say, would be Cotton, Fantastic Night Dreams for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. This game is super rare and very, very expensive, and I absolutely love this game. For those of you that don't know, it is a shoot 'em up or cute 'em up where you play as a little witch named Cotton and fly around on your broomstick. And yeah, it is a great game, but I would say this is probably, well, I have a few, but I don't want to give the same answer for like-minded questions. So for Pat, those are my two answers, man, and I really appreciate the questions.
What is going on, everybody? Jay from Square Pegs here, and Steve Craig Retro Games, 1,000 subscribers. My friend, congratulations on a spectacular milestone. It was well-earned, well-deserved, and I'm so, so proud of you for hitting there. And we're doing a 1K Q&A, so I have what is possibly the most important question ever for the guy who I consider the foremost expert on handheld gaming on YouTube. Is what is your favorite handheld system? Now, I don't mean the DS, I don't mean the Game Boy, Neo Geo Pocket Color, or anything like that. I mean, which particular device from your fantastic collection is your favorite? Best design, best feature set, best look, best color. Which one encapsulates all of that to be your number one? Congratulations again, my friend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, Jay, you had to go and make me choose between my babies, man. I had to think long and hard about this, but I did come up with an answer. And my answer is the Turbo Express. And the reason why I chose the Turbo Express is you don't ever see these. Just the fact that you can play TurboGrafx 16 cards on the go is still mind-blowing to me. And this one is actually modded, so I can play Japanese hue cards as well. So the screen is great. This thing still works almost like it was brand new. I never had one brand new, so I don't know exactly how it looked straight out of the box, but this thing looks and plays fantastic. It has been all redone inside with capacitors, and yeah, so not only can I play TurboGrafx 16 games on the go, but I can also play Japanese hue cards as well. And I don't know anybody else that has one of these, and this was a holy grail of mine for the longest time until I was finally able to pick one up 2 years ago. And so yeah, this would be my favorite handheld. So thanks, Jay. All right, the next question is from David B69, and he asked if I could only play the Sega Saturn or the Panasonic 3DO from this day forward, which would I choose and why? And that's a very easy answer. I would absolutely choose the Sega Saturn. I do have a 3DO and about 10 games, maybe a dozen games. But I came across it one day in a shop for a great price. I picked it up, and it was more of a curiosity because I never played one when I was younger. I never knew anybody that had one. Now, am I glad I own one? Yes. Do I play it even 5% as much as I do my Sega Saturn? No. It's a cool item to have, but it is no Sega Saturn. So that's an easy question to answer. Sega Saturn all day long, but I do appreciate the question.
What is up, guys? Pac-Man Case here. Steve Craig, Retro Games, this channel I have been with since almost its inception, and I am super proud of Steve. 1,000 subs is no easy feat, so awesome job, my man. Really appreciate our collaborations and friendship throughout your entire journey, and I'm just super proud of you. I have a question, though, for you that I think is on everyone's mind, and that is, if you had a choice, would you either keep your games or keep your beard? The world wants to know.
Oh, Andy. I knew somebody was going to ask this question. All right, so if it came down to my beard or my video games, the beard's got to go. I would absolutely keep the video games and shave the beard off in an instant. I forgot what my face looks like without it, but I tell you what, if and when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I would love to do something for charity where I try to bring in as much money as I can, and if I hit a certain number, I will shave my beard off live on film. So if you guys can help me get to 5,000 subscribers, I would love to do some type of charity event and shave my beard live on camera if I hit a certain mark. I don't know if any of you guys would care, but I would totally be down for that. So Andy, I hope that's a good answer to your fantastic question, my friend. All right, the next question is from the other Steve. Saturn Steve. And his question was, if I was to start collecting any retro console in 2023, what would it be? Now, for me, retro is, I would say, GameCube and back. So if I was to choose, if I didn't, let's say I had nothing behind me, no video games, but I was going to start collecting one retro system, again, my answer would be the Sega Saturn. I absolutely love the Sega Saturn. I love collecting for it. I am sitting on, I think, 50 games for my system. I would love to have probably 20 more, but I just love the 2D games. The 3D games are also fun, but I don't know. It's a system I never had originally when I was younger, one that I always wanted, but I missed out on. And there's something about it, it just, even though I never had one growing up, it really gets me in the feels. I love the aesthetic look and feel of the graphics. There's just something very comforting about the way Sega Saturn games look, and of course they run so well, and just a fantastic library of games. So great question, Steve. I would have to say the Sega Saturn, which I know is making you happy, brother. So really appreciate the question, my friend.
Hey, Pumpkin. Steve Craig just hit 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, buddy.
And he asked us for a Q&A for his 1,000 subscribers. And our question is...
Let's see. It should probably be something based around 1,000.
Yes.
So I got it. Top 1,000 video games of all time.
I don't think he'd have enough time for that. That's a bit much. Could you narrow it down?
What about... How did you land such an awesome woman as Leanne?
True. But that's a little too personal.
Okay, I got it. Every single one of your subscribers gives you $1, and you can only buy one game with it. What is it?
Ooh, if I had $1,000 given to me that I could spend on any video game, what would it be? Magic Knight Ray Earth for the Sega Saturn. That's a game that I would love to have. It was the very last Sega Saturn game released, and even though I do enjoy RPGs, I'm not an RPG heavy guy because there's so much time that you have to put into those games to really get out of them what you want, where I'm more so like a 10-hour, and I'm through with the game kind of guy. That way I can roll through a bunch of games in a short amount of time. But Magic Knight Ray Earth is a game that I have tried to add to my collection a couple of times over the last few years through auctions, and I have just missed out at the end. But yeah, if I had $1 from each subscriber given to me to spend on any one game, I would love to have a nice clean copy of Magic Knight Ray Earth. So, as far as how I landed a woman like Leanne, I'd like to think, how did she land me? I'm just saying. All right, the next question is from the mighty Meesprit 7325, and their question was, what is my favorite RPG? Well, as I just said, I'm not a huge RPG guy. I do enjoy them. I just don't have the amount of time to put 50, 60, 80, 100 hours into a game or more. So my answer to your question is Panzer Dragoon Saga. And the reason why is this is a fantastic RPG, and it will run you about 20 hours. So as far as RPGs go, for me, that is perfect. I'm sure that for some of you guys, that's barely scratching the surface of some of the RPGs you guys play. But 20 hours is a good amount of time to sink into a game. The story in this is great. I really enjoy the relationship and the characters in this. Just a fantastic game, and oh my god, the music in this is the best. So this would be my favorite RPG simply because it is short and sweet.
Steve Craig, Retro Games, congratulations.
Way to go.
1,000 subs. That is awesome. I'm Tom.
I'm Lady Lacey.
We're Do You Nerd, and we want to know, I got a question for you. What is a sweet spot that you'd like to hunt in? If you're willing to share. Pawn shops, flea markets, swap meets, we know all of these. What's a place that you find that's really good for collecting, finding those collectibles that maybe people don't know about? If you're willing to share.
What's your favorite position?
Yeah.
I mean, so what is the one thing you would never have in your collection because you just can't stand it and you would not be caught dead having it in your collection? You don't even want to be associated with it.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Once again, congrats on 1,000 subscribers.
Good job. Way to go.
Ooh, so Tom and Lady Lacey have a 3-part question. All right, Tom. So question 1. This is going to be a lame answer, but I don't have any spots anymore that I go hunting at. I've got a couple of game stores, but they're not really hidden secrets or anything. I had one game store that was about 15 minutes from me, and he always had a very small selection, but the prices were way under price charting, and I used to find some gems in there, but unfortunately he closed down about 3 years ago, probably due to the low prices. And then there was a thrift store that I would frequent at least 3 or 4 days a week close to my work, and I was getting games for $1, $1.50. I got some consoles there for $5, $10. So that was a really sweet spot. And then they closed down and relocated further away, so I never get a chance to go by their new location. So honestly, the two kind of hidden honey holes that I had are both gone. So now I'm just relegated to your typical retro game stores that everybody knows about, and then of course conventions and eBay. So no sweet tips for you there. As far as Lady Lacey goes, my favorite positions, well, that would depend. When I'm playing handhelds, I like to sit back and relax. But when I'm playing a console, I like to sit forward and attentive. So those are my two favorite positions. And then, as far as my third goes, what would I never own or be caught dead with? My answer to that, a PC. I am not a PC gamer. I am not a PC elitist. I don't know how to work a computer. I do everything from my phone, and that's why my videos are so basic. and the editing is very basic because I have no clue what I'm doing. I just wing it. So what you get is what you get. But yeah, PCs are expensive. They continuously, require upgrades and everything else. They're always crashing. I don't know. Something about computers and PCs that we just don't get along. So that's the one thing I would never own. I would own almost any other system, but I would never buy a gaming PC. All right, the next question is from Games with T, and his question is, what are my favorite videos to shoot? And that is an easy question because I love pickup videos. I know that they're easy to do. All I've got to do is just show you what I brought in. However, that is one reason why I'm gonna tell you straight up, they're the easiest to shoot. They're exciting for me because not only am I bringing in new items to my collection that I'm excited about, but I'm also just as equally excited to share my new additions with you guys. And I'm always curious to see and hear what you guys think of anything new that I bring into my collection. So as much as I love to share handheld games with you guys weekly and share my collection videos with you guys, pickups are easily my favorite because that means I'm bringing in something new and shiny into my collection, and I get to share that with you guys. So fantastic question, brother. I really appreciate it. Yeah, pickups are my favorite.
What's up, everybody? Retro Wolf 88 here, and Steve Craig Retro Games. My question for you is, what is the hardest handheld game that you've ever played and beat?
I appreciate the question, Matt. And this is something I also had to think long and hard about because once I beat a game, I kind of forget about it. I push it out of my mind. So I had to really go back and think about how difficult were some of these games I beat, and were they really as difficult as I remember them being, or were they more difficult? And the answer that I came up with, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I think Ape Out might be the most difficult game I've beaten on a handheld. And the reason being is you are an ape, and your only weapon is to push people away from you as you get close enough to them. And you have guys with guns, rocket launchers, flamethrowers, ranged weapons, and you have your gorilla arms. So as you're trying to work your way through these levels to escape, you have all kinds of ammunition flying at you. You have exploding barrels. It is super tough. Not the entire game, and that's the problem with trying to come up with an answer. Is not every game is super difficult from beginning to end, but this is the last hour of this game is super tough, or at least for me, it was super tough and frustrating. I just kept getting killed, and once you beat this game, there is a new game plus. The idea of this game is to break out. Once you actually beat the game, new game plus is trying to break in so you can get your baby and then get your baby back out. So you've got to break in, get your baby, and then get back out. So super, super tough game. I also have a second answer for you, Matt, because when I beat this game, which I'm on the last level, this will take that spot as hardest game I've ever beat on a handheld, and that is Astro Boy, the Omega Factor. I'm on the last level of this game, which is a shoot 'em up level. So for those of you that have never played this game, oh my gosh, if you guys are into platformers with a lot of character, Astro Boy is wonderfully done. This is made by Sega. This game has platforming, it has shoot 'em up levels, and the very last level is a very long and very, very tough shoot 'em up level that I just cannot get through yet. So for now, my answer is Ape Out, but once I beat this, this will take the spot as toughest game I've beaten on the handheld. I just got to get through that last level. So thank you so much for the question, brother. I really do appreciate it, man. All right, the next question is from my brother Roman Dan. Thank you so much for the questions, man. He also has a two-parter. First question is, why do I keep the majority of my video games sealed, especially collector's editions? And that is an easy question to answer. So, I am a collector, but I'm not gonna lie. There is always a possibility that I have to sell any or all of this at any given time because we never know what cards life is going to deal you on a daily basis. So a lot of the things that I buy sealed, I will keep sealed. If I really want to play the game, I'll buy a second copy of the game, or I'll get a digital copy of the game and play that. And the reason being is I can always open a game later on if I really, really want to play it, but I can never reseal a game if I open it and I don't like it. So there's a few different reasons. However, part of it is I have always been like that. I used to collect action figures and I preferred those sealed on their card as well. Something about sealed collecting for me, I enjoy it. It's not for everybody, of course, but I do enjoy my sealed games, but I do have at least half of my games open and playable. So it's not like I'm short of something to play. And like I said, if I ever decide later on I want to play a game, I can always open it. But if I have a game and it's sealed and I paid $40 for it, and 5 years from now that game's now worth $400 or $500, and I have a digital copy of it, I'm not opposed to selling that game for $400 or $500. Maybe taking a vacation, paying a bill. You know, I'm not opposed to doing any of that. So I don't buy any of this with the intention of selling it, but I'm not opposed to selling it if the time comes where I need to sell something. So that is my answer to that. Plus, I like sealed things. It's pretty. And then his second question is, what is my favorite genre and why? And again, I had to think about this one because I love all genres of games, but I'd probably have to say survival horror. And the reason why is because so many survival horror games can be different styles of game. You can have a third-person survival horror game. You can have a first-person survival horror game. You can have a top-down survival horror game. You can have a 2D side-scrolling platformer survival horror game. So there's just a bunch of different ways that you could play a scary style game. I love the music and the ambiance of survival horror. And there's just something about being just a little bit scared and on edge that makes you feel alive. And I enjoy that feeling. So I would have to say, just by a little bit, that survival horror is probably my favorite genre of games. Great questions, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Steve, congratulations on hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. I think you really deserve it. Now, my question. I really want to know what game from your past that you want remade on a modern console today and why. I'm really looking forward to hearing your answer on this one.
Matt, if I could choose any game from my childhood for them to remake, I would absolutely choose Kid Icarus from the Nintendo. That is one of my childhood favorites. It's easily my favorite NES game of all time. I can't tell you how many times I played that game as a child growing up. I was a huge fan of Greek mythology when I was a kid. I loved reading all the ancient stories about Zeus and just anything that had to deal with that type of lore. When I was a child, I was all about it. So I absolutely love Kid Icarus. I wish they would do some type of 2D remake today in the same vein as the original, but upgrade the sprites. Basically a remake of the original, but keep it in that 2D platform style because that's what I absolutely love about it. I love the music. Just a huge fan. I really like the 3DS Kid Icarus as well, but the original is definitely one of my favorites, and I would absolutely love to see them remake that game today. So thank you so much for the question, man. I really do appreciate it.
Attaboy, Steve. I didn't think you could do it.
Oh, look.
How are you making out with it?
Oh, it's a cork. For Steve's Q&A for his 1,000 subscribers, we each have a question.
All right, Steve. I know you're a huge collector. You got a lot of high-end stuff, complete in box. A lot of it's minty from what I've seen in your pickups. What is the crown jewel of the collection?
My question, it's like standard, I ask everybody this. If you could live in any game for 24 hours, no repercussions, you're not going to die, anything like that, what game would you choose and why?
You know the one.
God of War 3.
God of War 3. Was it hell in the Zone?
Anyways, that's my question. Dennis, do you have a question yet?
Okay, so my question to Craig.
Craig, who the is Craig?
Thanks. It's because it's Steve Craig.
Mr. Craig.
My question to you, what is your favorite handheld game to play? Like what is your favorite one? So this, Mr. Steve.
Oh,
Mr. Craig.
Mr. Craig, Steve Craig. This is congratulations to 1,000 followers.
What do I gotta suffer for his 1,000?
We are now drinking some more
Lemon Pledge.
lemon
They might be better on its own.
limoncello from Italy from Mary. Thanks, Mary.
Well, it's a little more lemony than I was expecting.
I do like it. It's good.
All right, back to you.
All right, there's the three amigos, retro rivals. So, you goofballs. I will answer Scott's first. So, my crown jewel, again, I've already shown Panzer Dragoon Saga. I've already shown Cotton. Those are expensive games, very rare and hard to find, and I don't want to keep showing repeated things. So I came up with a new answer for you, and this is something that I just don't see a whole lot of people have. So I would have to say my boxed Sega Nomad. You just don't see a lot of these boxes and a lot of Nomads, honestly. This is definitely one. And then my boxed Nomad Power Back. These are just items that you don't see very often. I probably actually see this less than I do copies of Panzer Dragoon Saga, and there's less than 20,000 copies of that game worldwide. So I know they made more than that of the Nomad, but you don't see any Nomad boxes. I love the art style, that late 80s, early 90s art style. The purple with the red, it's just edgy and cool, and I love the Nomad. I think it's a fantastic handheld. I just love everything about it. So this would be my crown jewel handheld answer for Scott. As far as Jen's question, what video game would I like to live in for a 24-hour period if I couldn't die? And my answer to that, BioShock. And the reason being able to walk through and explore Rapture for 24 hours if I couldn't get killed would be absolutely fantastic. I think that's one of the most beautiful worlds ever created in the video game space. And if I could walk around and explore the city of Rapture, possibly run across a Big Daddy, but not have to worry about my own safety, that would definitely be the video game I would like to live in, just so that I could see an underwater city with the Art Deco architecture and the music. It would just be super, super awesome. So that would be my answer for Jen. And then Dennis asked my favorite handheld game. So I've got two for you. The first one would be Broforce. Again, I don't have my physical copy. Special Reserves, Come on, guys. 2.5 years I've bought that game. 2.5 years ago. Where's my damn physical copy? And then the other game I would say would be Aliens Infestation for the DS. This is a Sega and WayForward title. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I beat this a couple of years ago. I love this game so much, I bought a sealed copy of this game. And yeah, this game is fantastic. It is a Metroidvania side-scrolling platformer, and it is great. If you guys are fans of the Alien franchise, or you're looking for a Metroidvania style game for the Nintendo DS, I highly recommend picking this game up. It's not cheap, but it's not through the moon yet, but this would be my answer as to a good Metroidvania game you guys should check out. And that is it for the questions, guys. Thank you all so much for the video questions and the comment questions. I really do appreciate it, guys. You know, I'm sorry that it took me a little bit longer to get this video out, but this is by far the biggest video I've had to put together with editing different pieces and everything else. But thank you for your patience. Thank you again so much for submitting the questions, the commented questions, and the video questions, guys. I wouldn't be here without all of you guys, so thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You guys are fantastic and awesome. And make sure you come back this Friday. Hopefully this item arrives, and I will be opening up something brand new for you guys on camera. So make sure you come back Friday. Until then, thanks as always, guys, for watching. I really do appreciate it. I love you all. I hope you stuck around till the end. And go check out everybody that left me a question or dropped me a video question. Please go check out their channels, guys. And until Friday, take care of yourselves out there and keep gaming.